todos, buenas noches. Casi conozco a todos, así que están bienvenidos en su casa de Sharet Zion. Agradecemos a toda la organización Sharet Zion por recibirnos y a ustedes por venir. Les tengo que decir que no se van a arrepentir de haber venido el día de hoy y se los aseguro. ¿Okay? Gracias, Rav Sauer. Acabamos de venir de una clase con 80, ¿cuántos eran? ¿90? 90 chavos por ahí, sí, y salieron felices de todo, de escuchar a Rav. Ya casi cancelamos aquí, no es cierto. Gracias a Rav David Harari también por ayudarnos, ¿ok? Y a todos los que sí están en Gesed México, que ya me conocen y ya tienen, pues gracias por su apoyo. Estamos lanzando, bueno, desde ayer, dos nuevos libros de Rav Rodi, editado en español, traducido al español, editado por Rav Salomichan y traducido por Margarita Harari. No son libros escritos en argentino, en español argentino, son español de México.
¿Pero
¿Okay?
cuál es el problema del español argentino?
Después le digo, Rav, tengo una buena para ustedes.
¡Campeones del mundo!
Pueden ser los campeones del mundo, pero ya pasó un día nada más. Por un día fueron campeones, lo demás ya no valió.
No, 3 años y medio.
No, pero los libros se venden en 150 pesos, ¿ok? Algunos de ustedes tienen los otros 3 libros anteriores que hayamos regalado y este dinero se va para publicar más libros de Emuná para México y para otros países de habla hispana. Ya tenemos un grupo, unas personas en Colombia, gracias a Dios, y Hashem está abriendo muchas puertas. Emuná es lo que debemos escuchar, y pues el que conoce a Rabbi Brody, pues ya sabe quién es, y el que no, van a saber quién es. Gracias a todos. Y Rab está bastante cansado, ¿ok? Va a tratar de hacer su mejor esfuerzo, así que vamos a pedirle a Hashem que le dé fuerza para darnos una muy buena plática y que nos refuerce nuestro mundo. Rab, please.
B'Shem Hashem, with Hashem's loving grace. Oh, okay. First thing. This is my 7th conference today. Okay. And I have a little problem. It's flesh and blood, basal v'dam. So I asked permission from the Kahal that I make a bracha. And everybody say Amen. Because I have to lubricate the basal v'dam. Baruch Ato Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Shehakol Niyah B'Dvarim. Amen. Oh, this is with the honey. Muchas gracias. Hashem should bless the 10 fingers that made that cup of tea. Okay. Good. Now we're back in business. We're talking about the secret of real happiness. And in a few minutes, you're going to be a lot happier. Because teach a secret that a lot of people don't know, and a lot of rabbis don't know. And what's the secret of real happiness? You know, when you walk in the street in Mexico City on Shabbat, and you go to synagogue, and you're happy it's Shabbat, and you get to pray, you get to talk to Hashem. Yeah, just how much, what do you have to do to go talk to the President of Mexico? Maybe you do, maybe not. You need so much protection, go through this one, go through that one, go through that one. You go anytime you want. You could talk to the King of Kings. What's the President of Mexico? He's powerless against the one-cell bacteria. If a one-cell bacteria called Escherichia coli, E. coli, gets in his intestine, he's not going to be able to talk to you because you're running back and forth to the bathroom. Okay, so if the president of Mexico can't do anything against the one-cell bacteria, how's it going to help you? But we have a Father in heaven that the first principle of the Munah, Asa Oise V'Yaseh Kol HaDvarim, he does and will do everything. He could do anything to help us. And Hashem is one-stop shopping. Hashem is like a great supermarket. You go to the supermarket, you find whatever you want. You don't have to go to the fish store, and the meat store, and the vegetable store, and the clothing store, whatever you want. You go, you get your Shabbat food, you get your Shabbat clothes, you get your makeup, you get whatever you want. Whatever you want. Gas for your car, whatever you want. Hashem's one-stop shopping. And everything that the Neshama needs, certainly. Everything the body needs, all for Hashem. So I'm going to tell you a little story. There's a guy who read these romance novels, and he had in his head a dream girl. And he wants to find the dream girl. And he wants to marry the dream girl. And he sees these girls, this one's not beautiful enough, and this one's not nice enough, and this one's not pretty enough, and this one's not dull enough, and sure, this one's not intelligent enough, he's got to go. So now he goes, and he sails from North America, he goes across the Atlantic, he goes to Europe, and he begins in England and Scotland and Ireland, doesn't find. He crosses the British Channel, he goes to France, goes through France, and from France to Germany, all the French girls, doesn't find one. German girls, right, can't find that French. Italian girls, maybe in Italy, no, can't find that. And then he hears, there's these beautiful women in Thailand. So he goes all the way to the Far East, and then what happens to him, he goes to mountains and cold and desert. He has to go through the Persian desert and Afghanistan, and the Taliban almost kills him. And whoa, what an odyssey. They say in Alibaba, 1,000 nights of danger. And he goes around the world, and he spends 3 years. He goes to Japan, to Thailand, to Burma. He doesn't find anything. Maybe in Russia, Siberia, nothing. Then he crosses the Bering Straits. He comes to Alaska. Alaska, he doesn't find anything. And he starts, and he hears about the old California, beautiful girls. He goes down the coast of California, doesn't find anything. Then he goes Rocky Mountains, maybe in Denver, there's something, nothing. Goes down to Texas. They say, Texas, what do you do in Texas? Try in New York, where all the models are. Go up to New York. So he goes up to New York. He doesn't find anything. And find out that, wait a second, why didn't you ever check the beach in Miami? Miami girl with the Miami bikinis. He goes down and looks at Miami bikini, but that's not what he wants. That's not what he wants. It's a girl that everybody can see her and everybody can do it. That's not what he wants. And he looks all over, and he goes back, and he goes to Monte, and he goes back, and he comes back to Mexico City after 3 years, and he's got a broken arm, and he's got scars, he got this, he doesn't find her. Well, he's in Intaloma, and he goes back into Intaloma, and this house, he's got this house that the famous architect builds, and there's a unit right next door. And he's sitting in the back, and looking at the sky, and doesn't understand why he can't find. And then all of a sudden, the daughter, the next door neighbor, she goes out to hang up the laundry. I know that doesn't happen. That's not Mexico City. The girl's hanging up the laundry. Okay. Somebody else has got a maid hang up the laundry. All right, but she's doing something in the backyard, or picking flowers, or doing something. And he sees the girl, the next door neighbor. And she's beautiful. And she's intelligent, and she's nice, and she's from a great family. And he went around the world for 3 years, almost got killed, almost got injured, hot and cold and desert and mountains, didn't find anything, comes home to his backyard, and here she is. The most beautiful girl on earth is in his backyard. Guess what? Querido hermanos y hermanas, guess what? Yo estudié español 2 años en la universidad, pero en Israel no hablo entonces, se me olvidó todo. So excuse me, I speak in English. Because if I speak any more Spanish, I'm going to have to urgently go to the dentist. Broken teeth. Do you know what the metaphor of the story I just told you about? It's about every one of us. Every one of us. We think we're not happy. So there's the if-only syndrome. The if-only syndrome, somebody says, oh, why, my brother, how come you're not happy? He says, well, you know, my friend, he makes a startup company in high-tech, and he sold it, and he made 1.4 billion pesos. Like that. Startup company, and 14 months. And he says, me, I'm just working a regular job, but I get a regular salary, and I barely make ends meet. How come this? I'll be happy. So it won't make happy. He says, if I have 1.4 billion pesos, I'll be happy. Okay. So then he gets 1.4 billion pesos, and the national lottery. You know what happens when he's got 1.4 billion pesos? All of a sudden, his long-lost relatives. Oh, Jacobo! Hi, Jacobo! I haven't seen you so long. And his neighbors, oh, Jacobo! And in Shul, oh, Jacobo! And all of a sudden, from Eretz Yisrael, the stores to hear about Jacobo, knocking on the door day and night, knocking on the door day and night. He's got no peace. Used to be that Jacobo, with his little salary, he had peace. He'd go to synagogue. He'd go to Monte, SINAI, and he'd have a mincha, and he'd hear a lesson from Torah and Chacham and Aravit, and he'd go home and have a nice dinner with his wife. Not anymore. And say, Jacobo, call, Jacobo, cell phone, Jacobo, the door. He's crazy. The money driving is crazy. The money does the machat. Oh, okay. So it's not the 1.4 billion pesos that brings you happiness, Jacobo. And what's the next guy? The next guy says, oh, okay. I'd be happy. What's going to make me happy? How come, young man, you're not happy? He says, I dream I want to play in Mundial. I said, you want to play in Mundial? He says, sometimes they play games on Shabbat. So what are you going to do? He says, if it's my dream, I'll walk to the stadium. Oh, you walk to the stadium. Okay. So you go to the Mundial, and first time out in the field, the first minute, comes the guy from Argentina, and the referee's not looking and kicks him right in the knee, and he gets injured in the knee, fixed, his patella is broken, he's out. He goes to the Mundial now, he can't play football, he can't walk, he can't do anything. Oh, so you made it to the Mundial, that didn't make you happy. Or you lost the game, that didn't make you happy. Or you played a lousy game, you kicked your own goal, and then everybody's blaming you, and now, where's your Mundial? That doesn't make you happy. And now, I say, young lady, how come you're not happy? She says, Hashem doesn't give me my shidduch. Okay. If only I were married. If only Yehuda would marry me. She wasn't married Yehuda. She's SINAI Yehuda. Okay. Well, if Hashem didn't give you Yehuda, that means maybe it's not for you. No, but he is for you. He's so good looking. He's this, he's that. Okay, so you marry Yehuda. And then the day after Sheva Brachot, he does everything to make you crazy. Your whole life, you squeeze the toothpaste tube from the bottom, comes Yehuda, takes your toothpaste from the top. Your whole life, nobody leaves the dish on the table, put it in the sink. Yehuda leaves the dish on the table. And Yehuda leaves his socks in the middle of the floor, and Yehuda, don't ask what Yehuda's socks smell like. No. It's not very romantic anymore. And a month later, Yehuda, where's the romance? It's down the drain. So it's not Yehuda that made you happy. And if only this, if only this, if only this, if only this. When we see the if only, and Hashem gives you the if only, and it doesn't make you happy. How many times have you had an if only? If only I have a brand new Mercedes. Hashem gives the guy a brand new Mercedes, and the second day he has it, some cab driver, boom, hits its fender, and now it's got a big dent. Oh, wow. A brand new car with a dent in it? Don't have the joy. He said, better off not having a Mercedes. So we see the if-only syndrome, and everybody's got the if-only syndrome. Ask you what your if-only is. If only I had some more money. If only I had, if only this, if only that, if only my child would do something and do different, if only something different. But it doesn't happen different. Let's open up a book called 13 Principles of Emunah. And it teaches what a Jewish person believes in. And once again, many rabbis, they know Gemara by heart, and tell them, Kvod Rav, tell me what a Jew believes in. He can't tell you. He doesn't know. And this is something, how come a rabbi can be an ordination, they give him smicha, and they don't ask him 13 principles of Emunah. They ask him halacha, he has to know Ilchot Shabbat, he has to know Isur V'Heder, he has to know Tahat Mishpacha, he has to know all types of things. Nobody asks him 13 principles of Emunah. Why is that? There's a special type of doctor. It's called an anesthesiologist. What does the anesthesiologist do? Before a person has an operation, puts him to sleep so he won't feel the pain. The Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, is a master anesthesiologist. When it comes to learning Emunah, puts the person to sleep. He doesn't care if Rabbeinu the Chacham knows all the Gemara. That doesn't bother him. He doesn't care if, especially if the Gemara thinks he's better than anybody else. This is it. And there are many people that use the word Amaritz, the simple people, and he thinks he's better. Ooh, that means he's arrogant. Oh, the Yetzer Hara loves arrogant people, especially arrogant rabbis. But Emunah, no, not Emunah. Because if he has Emunah, he's going to love Hashem, and he's going to help everybody else love Hashem, and everybody else feel good about themselves. And a Rabbeinu with Emunah, with real Emunah, is going to teach the secret of Emunah we'll learn right now. So the first principle of Emunah, if you turn on the radio, it used to be that top 10. And the radio was smart. It would start with the number 10, and in a 2-hour program, they give you one song, then they give you 3 commercials, and then you have to get another song, number 9, another 3 commercials. If you want to hear number 8, you got to listen to another 3 commercials, then number 7, and after 2 hours, you hear number 1. Laser's going to give you number 1 right now. No commercials, they will start right with number 1. So the first of the 13 principles of Emunah, Ani ma'amin be'emunah shleima, I believe with a full and complete belief, shehaboreh yitbarach shmo, that the Creator, blessed be His name, hu boreh umanhig, He is Creator and Director, shekol masim, of all the creations, v'hu levado asa oiseh v'yaseh lekol masim. I have to think, this is a little thing, we're Jews, Udil, that Lahodot means to thank you. I forgot to thank my beloved brother translators who was such a great job translating. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias, mi hermano. Todos los bendiciones para ti y toda la familia. Translate that. So wait a second. Hashem did, does, and will do everything. You know what that means? As soon as I internalize that everything comes from Hashem, it's not easy, because the biggest distance in the world is not Mexico City to Hong Kong. The biggest distance in the world is the brain to the heart. The brain can learn the 13th principle of Allah and know that everything's from Hashem. But when the heart hears something that sounds like bad news, it gets worried. And when we bring Emunah into the heart, and as we say, and you internalize in your heart, Ki Hashem hu Elokim, that Hashem is the compassionate Father, Elokim, stern judgment. That what looks like stern is not really stern judgment, it's really Elokim. And where do that sounds like contradiction? Where do we see that someone stern is really loving? A parent. The child says, Mommy, Daddy, I want chocolate toffee. Mommy, Daddy says, you can't have chocolate toffee. Oh, I want chocolate toffee. Mommy, Daddy says, you can't have chocolate toffee. Is Mommy and Daddy a cruel parent or a loving parent? I say Mommy, Daddy's a loving parent. Because if they give the child chocolate toffee when he's 5 years old, in 15 years, they have 2 holes. One in the tooth, one in the pocket. When he goes to the dentist, pays the dental bill. And Mommy and Daddy know that, so they'll have the chocolate toffee. So sometimes when Hashem does something It looks like it's hard, and it's not like we're Hashem's little kids, and sometimes we want something that's not good for us. I want 1.4 billion pesos. Okay, take it. Try it. See if it's good for you. No, it's not good. He lost his inner peace. There's no price for inner peace. That's happiness. You have to have happiness. You have inner peace. You're at peace with yourself. You're at peace with your fellow human. And you're at peace with Hashem. And people, why do they show a bite? They have peace with their spouses or peace with their neighbors because they don't have peace with themselves. How can you have peace with your soulmate if you don't have peace with yourselves? So tonight we're starting with first grade, peace with ourselves. So we know that everything comes from Hashem. Even the stern thing, where do you see this? You see this in athletics, you see this in the army. A good athletic coach is really tough on his athletes. Because he hates them? No, because he loves them. He wants them to be winners. And the more he pushes them, the more they have to strain, and the more they strain, the stronger they get, better they get. Where do you see somebody that's really tough? Ooh, wow. See, an Israeli drill sergeant in basic training, he kills you. But there's somebody stronger, an Israeli drill sergeant in basic training. A drill sergeant in advanced training. And there's somebody stronger than him, a drill sergeant in non-commissioned officer school. And there's somebody that's stronger than him, a drill sergeant in officer school. The higher you get, the tougher it gets. So why are they so tough? You look at the way an Israeli soldier trains, especially the Special Forces unit, these guys, these commanders, they're sadistic. Well, they need to go to psychiatrists because they're sadists? No. I can tell you, as somebody that spent a lot of time in the IDF, a commander's worst dream, worst nightmare, is when you have to knock on the door of the parents of one of the guys in your unit and give them a piece of bad news. It's not going to happen. You see? Not on my car. Not going to happen. So if the guy does a mistake and maneuvers and kill it, you do that in battle, buddy, you're going to get killed. And if he does a mistake, slap to it. Looks really sadistic. Why? Because we love him. Want him to win the war, want him to come home safely. Hashem wants us to win the war and to come home happy, because when we're not happy, you know what happens? There's no void in spirituality. Either the Yetzer Tov is in control, the good inclination, or the evil inclination is in control. There's no man's land. Just like in physics, someone learns physics, university, there's no such thing as a void. You would have vacuum, like vacuum packing. It's not absolute 100% vacuum. It's 99.98. In matter, there's no void. In spirituality, there's no void. There's no man's land, empty land between Yetzer Tov and Yetzer Hara. It's either Yetzer Tov or Yetzer Hara. There's no gray. It's either black or it's either white. A person is happy or not. And if he's not, then the dark side is going to control his neshama. These are not my words. These are the words of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in Zohar. And if we open up the Hasidic of Rabbi Nachman, he writes all about it. In Lichutei Moharan, Rabbi Nachman says that atzavut, sadness and depression, is the worst Yetzer Hara. So in order to be connected to Hashem, we have to be happy. King David says this all the time. Okay? We go according to Hashem's laws. We're happy. What's Hashem's laws? The first law is the law of Amunah. And the first law of Amunah is the first principle that He alone does, and will do. But let's speak on simple terms. How does this translate in our lives? First thing, something looks like it's bad. Something looks like it's bad. My husband insulted me. My wife insulted me. Lost money in business. Not feeling well. Where's it coming from? Okay, my neighbor threw a rock in my window. Whatever. It's not the neighbor. It's not the husband. It's not the wife. It's not the boss. He alone did, does, and will do. So Hashem wants something to happen. If something is good, He takes a good person and He says, you're going to be the good mailman. And he's going to get rewarded for doing something good. He's Hashem's emissary. But suppose something bad, to throw the rock through the neighbor's window. Well, the neighbor did something bad or said something bad and hasn't been punished, and Hashem wants to bring him to a situation where he's punished. Hashem puts a rock in his hand, throw the rock through their window. So if this bad mailman, the bad emissary doesn't do it, somebody else is going to do it. And if your wife doesn't yell at you, go to the street, the dog is going to bark at you. Something's going to happen. It's going to upset you. Oh, Hashem. So when we know that everything is from Hashem, tunnel vision, like a horse, the old horses, they used to have blinders, a horse that pulled a plow. So he wouldn't look to the right or left, you only see, he'd plow a straight line. It's called blinders, because he's blind. We put blinders like a horse, we see nothing but Hashem. Ein od milvado. Nothing but Hashem. First principle, everything comes from you. So what happens as soon as everything comes from you? I'm right away not angry. I'm not angry at the neighbor, because if not this neighbor, it'd be that neighbor. I'm not angry at my wife, because she's a kosher Jewish woman. And if Hashem told her something, it means, if she tells me I'm a nincompoop, it means I got to put tshuva. It's not her telling me I'm a nincompoop. Hashem says, Laser, you're a nincompoop. You got to do tshuva. I know one thing, sometimes I walk home, I got a wonderful harmony. But sometimes I walk in the door, and with no reason, I don't understand, boom, she's like a howitzer cannon. And she knows how to fire, because my wife, she was a tank sergeant in the Yom Kippur War. Okay? She was also in the army. Okay? So she's a trooper like me. She was in the army like me. Okay? She knows who was. She's a holy woman, but she knows how to fire a tank. Okay? And right in the eyes. So what happens when I get it? Would make an argument? No, it's not her. It's Hashem. When my wife is upset with me, it's Hashem that's upset with me. So I say, excuse me, I forgot something. I forgot something in the Beit Midrash. I got to go back. So I go back, and I run out to the park, and I say, okay, Hashem, where did I blow it? What do I need to correct? And I hands the day what I did, and I find something I did wrong. Right away, do tshuva. I don't wait till Yom Kippur to do tshuva. Right away, same day tshuva. And then if I do tshuva and ask forgiveness for Hashem, now I come back home, and she says, I'm really sorry I spoke to you like that. I don't know, I was upset. Maybe upset me. I said, no, you were right that you spoke to me like that. You were right. But if I do tshuva, she sees I had something called a deeming, stern judgment on my face from Shemayim. And she married a guy with a clean neshama. She wants me to come home with a clean neshama. She don't want to come home with a dirty neshama. Come home full of dirt that's smelling not good. This upsets her neshama. So that makes her angry. We see. But when we look at life, and we see everything is from Hashem, we're happy. You know why I'm happy that my wife yelled at me? Because if she didn't yell at me, I would have done tshuva. I would have done self-cheshbon nefesh, self-assessment, and I wouldn't find what I did wrong. So then I get to Yom Kippur, and they say way back, on the 18th of Shvat, you messed up, and you never made tshuva. I messed up. Oh yeah, here it is, right here. Right here. You were talking in synagogue, or you said something in the middle of the Yesh Me'Chava, or you did something disrespectful. Hashem, that's really bad. Don't want to talk in shul. And don't want to say something in the middle of praising Hashem, Yesh Me'Chava. So to do something like that, Hashem gives us a different. That one guy came to me, he says, Rabbi, I got a 16-year-old daughter, she's a wonderful girl. You know what happened? He says, I came home and she gave me chutzpah, she really. Okay, so the father said, well, you not respect the father. And sometimes you see the father, if he's got ego, and he can even raise a hand against the daughter, chas v'sholom. He should raise a hand against Shalom, chas v'sholom. So I said, what did you do? He says, I figured I would do nothing and I'd ask you. Baruch Hashem, thank you. You did the right thing, my brother. Now stop and think about what you did. I know what I did wrong. I know what I did wrong. So Hashem put something in my head. Not that I have what I know, if you're not Ruach HaKodesh. But I did something that most people do wrong. And I said, did you take your iPhone to synagogue in the morning? He says, I always take my iPhone to synagogue. Ooh. You hear the beep beep or the zoom zoom or something comes in a new email, something, a text message? And he said, uh-oh. I said, what's the matter? He said, in the middle of Kedusha, I'm waiting for this big deal, and I got this text message, and in the middle of Kedusha, Kadosh, 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 and he's looking, money, money, money. Uh-oh, that doesn't hold well. That's such disrespect to Hashem. All the angels, they're waiting for the Jewish people in Kedusha and Shachrit to say Kadosh, 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 because the angels, they can't praise Hashem until we praise Hashem in Shachrit. It's a law. So instead of praising Hashem, money, money, money. The one says, if the Japanese distributor is off the plane in Mexico City or not, then they're coming in, if it's going to run out of show fast and make the meeting. What? You dummy? You don't realize that your panasah comes from Hashem? Read B'tochen, and you see, no disrespect. So Hashem warned him, so his daughter, she's not a good girl. And this guy's a good guy. He just made a mistake. He's worried about just school. His kids go to good schools. He's got kids in good schools, in good Jewish schools that cost tuition. He's got to make money. But I judge this guy fairly. The cop school, the do the cop school. And they say, okay, but it went a little too crazy. You should understand that he could do a lot more for his parnasah. And Barach Aleinu, Shvarach Aleinu, and Shachar, he didn't ask Hashem for parnasah at those times than to look at the text message. Then you don't know for a cell phone. You close it. And one of the reasons that Hashem gave us COVID is to close down cell phones and to put masks on our mouth. See, you talk in shul, and you choose, instead of Yehesh Shmei Rabbah, the text message, or instead of Yid Gadol V'Yid Kadash, what's up? Close the synagogue. Mikdash Shema. And that's the lesson we learned after COVID in our shul, where I got it in Melitza Rebbe, we said, no cell phones, no talking, absolute no talking in synagogue. And this, Baruch Hashem, the Sfaradim do much better than Ashkenazim in this. Because the Sfaradim have Mikdash Shema, Baruch Hashem. But we all have to approve on it. We all have to approve on it. So Hashem did this guy a favor. His daughter, she gave chutzpah, and he made cheshbon nefesh, and he realized that he did something wrong. He made shuvah, and then the same thing happened. After he made shuvah, he came home, and his daughter, she had tears in her eyes, and she said, Daddy, I don't know what got into me, and I'm so sorry. He said, that's okay, sweetheart. He was very gentle. That's okay. It wasn't you, it was Hashem. And this, a father, rather than destroying his relationship with his daughter, he would look at his daughter, he looked at Hashem. Look at God, look at Hashem. And it's the same thing with everything. You don't see the sick, you see Hashem. You don't see the person that brought you to him, you put Hashem. Whatever happens in life, the good, of course we're happy. And the seemingly bad, we know that comes from Hashem. Now, that's the first principle. That's section A of the first principle of Buddha. Section B is that everything Hashem does is for the very best. And we learn this from the Gemara, from Nahum Ish Gamzu. I don't have much time, but Nahum Ish Gamzu had the worst things in the world happen to him. And the Gemara tells that every time something bad happened to him, it said Gamzu L'Tova. This is also good. That's how he got his last name, Gamzu. And Rabbi Akiva was the greatest scholar. The whole Torah Shebaal Peh, the oral Torah, comes from Rabbi Akiva. And he learned from the two greatest scholars that all of Gemara is based on the teachings of Rabbi Yeshua ben Hanania and Rabbi Lezer Gadol Horkanus. And we learn in Tractate Baba Metzia about the wars they used to have, and they would change nature. They said, if Allah is like me, this tree should jump. And if the law is like me, the river should go backwards. And if the law is like the walls, the base Midrash would fall. The walls started to fall, and the other one said, don't stop walls. Let's see, it was like a war. They were the Torah. They were Rabbi Akiva's teachers. Rabbi Akiva, says the Gemara in Tractate Tani, he left these two great teachers, that all the laws of Gemara come to him to go to Nahum Ish Gamzu. Nahum Ish Gamzu was a big tzaddik. Nahum Ish Gamzu, like the Baba Sali of his generation. Nahum Ish Gamzu, one halacha in all 2,700 pages of Gemara, one halacha Nahum Ish Gamzu. Rabbi Akiva, you went to learn 22 years by Nahum Ish Gamzu? When you left your two great Rebbes and all the things, what are you doing it for? You did it for one thing. To learn, it took 22 years to learn that everything Hashem does is for the best. And where do we see the Rebbe Akiva? He talked the talk and he walked the walk. If we open up the Gemara, Tractate Brachot, page 62, talks about Krishma, and that tells us the story that we say every Tisha B'Av and every Yom Kippur about the moment Rebbe Akiva died. He was killed. Terrible torture the Romans did. They took iron rakes and raked his flesh. And while he's going this terrible torture, he has a smile on his face. And his students, the Romans made his students watch. It was terrible for the students to watch your beloved Rebbe, and the Romans are torturing him. And at that moment, he said, Kriyat Shema. V'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha. You love the Lord your God. V'chol levavcha, with all your heart. V'chol nafshecha, with all your soul. V'chol me'odecha, with all your might. And Rebbe Akiva smiling. And the students said, Rebbe, how can you smile at a time like this? And he said, I waited all my life to show Hashem how much I love him. I could serve him with all my heart and all my life. And now that I have a chance to give my life to Hashem, I'm not going to be happy. This is what Rebbe Akiva learned by Nahum Shkamsu. They're raking his flesh. He's about to leave the physical world, and he's got a smile on his face. This is Rebbe Akiva's teachings to every single one of us. What Nahum Shkamsu taught Rebbe Akiva, and we taught us, well, there's lots of stories in the Gemara, that no matter what happens, Gamzu, L'Tova, everything Hashem does. So let's review. Who is that Hashem that He alone does, and will do everything? That's our beloved Father in heaven. And He loves each one of us more than we love our own children. And that beloved Father in heaven does everything for the best. So if the Creator of the world, that He alone does and will do everything, is my Father in heaven, therefore it's all for the best. It's all for the good. It's the best case scenario. He knows what's better for me. He's doing the best for me. So that puts a smile on the face. That is the Jewish secret of happiness. You know that everything comes from Hashem, and it's all the best. It's all for your ultimate good. And you have that secret of happiness, you know what's going to happen? Even if something is painful in life, and you have a smile on your face, and you hold on with emunah, you say, thank you, Hashem. Hashem is going to give you real reasons to thank you. Everything you want, everything you need, together with Mashiach and a rebuilt holy temple, speeding in our days. Amen.
Si alguien tiene alguna pregunta que quiera hacerle a Rabino, y terminando, si alguien quiere una verajá rápida, con mucho gusto.
¿Dónde quedó el libre albedrío? ¿Existe?
Ok, otra vez.
No, hay que traducirlo. Where is the free will, say?
Where's the free will?
Yeah.
Well, there is no free will at all.
Of course it's free will. Of course it's free will. That's the next step. You have a free will to have a long face and not to believe, and free will to believe. You have a free will to be happy or not to be happy. It's the same thing. You can't change the situation. You can't change the situation. You can't change the earthquake. And just like we can't control the earthquake in Syria and Turkey, and it's even shaking in Israel, if we're back home, the breakfast table shaking, okay, we can't control that. And we can't control. But we can't control. There's a question in the Gemara that's the same question. And this is the classic question. Your question, my brother, is from the Rambam. The Rambam asks the same question, where is free will? Well, the answer to the Rambam is that as long as the body the soul is trapped in a body, we can't understand that, because that goes beyond the body. The body doesn't have intellect. But we can explain it on a level of Emunah, and it's like this, that we have the free will to strengthen ourselves in Emunah, or not to strengthen ourselves in Emunah. Okay? So I feel like this. I feel that a person with Emunah that's got a smile on his face, and he's happy, and is happy, you're fulfilled. When you have emunah, we just spoke to a group of college students, and they're not all religious, and I explained to them that the you is not just a body, it's a soul. But everybody's busy taking care of the body, and they don't tell the soul what it needs. So the soul needs vitamin E, that's emunah. And this emunah, just what we learn now, is what keeps a person happy. Because he chooses to believe. Okay, you don't have to listen to me, you don't have to believe. You go with your own game plan. And see, if your own game plan makes you happy, alam salam. Okay? But I'm telling you, there's nothing other than emunah that could give a Jew real happiness. If you take a non-Jew, he has a different neshama. Just like, not that we're saying we're better or not better than our non-Jewish neighbors, but you could say you have one truck that's benzene engine and one truck diesel engine. It's just a different engine. Okay? You could take average Mexican and give him a liter of cerveza and put him in front of the television, watch him Mundial, and add to it some fritas. He's happy as a lark. This is not going to be enough for Jewish neshama. It's not going to be enough. It's not enough. We need more. And that is what King Solomon, the smartest man that ever walked the face of the earth, he says, "Nefesh lo temaleh." That this won't satisfy your soul. The only thing that satisfies the soul is a connection to Hashem, and that's emunah. That's a free choice. You have a free choice. Nobody forces you out of bed in the morning. You have a free choice. Put on tefillin, don't put on tefillin. Keep Shabbat, don't keep Shabbat. Nobody comes in. And why this is the free choice? Because if somebody puts a gun at your head and they say, you keep Shabbat, you put on tefillin, you eat kosher, you don't deserve reward. And if somebody puts a gun at your head and says, like, for example, there's 2 prisoners of war, and the capture, the Chinese, says, if you don't eat that pork, I'll kill you. Allah says he's got to eat the pork. Okay? He's not going to get punished for eating the pork because the Chinaman he's got a gun in his head. And that's what the Gemara says on the self monopoly. If the person is under duress, so there's no context of reward and punishment without free will. And this is reward and punishment. This is what we say. This is our 11th principle of Mura. And he'll give a reward to those who do good, and he give punishment to those who do the opposite. That's free will. But this is the Ramchal. He says this in the first chapter of Derech HaChaim. He says that if 51% good, you're forced to do good. It's not fair. 51% bad, person forced up, that they're punished. Hashem has to maintain a perfect balance of 50-50. That's why the Yetzer Hara is so strong. That every time you get a Yetzer Hara, it doesn't give you a red carpet. Oh, my brother here, come go to synagogue. Oh, my brother here, open up a Gemara. No, you have to open up a Gemara and you get a phone call from your business partner and you get here and you get there. But there's all kinds of bother. If you want to go to the discotheque, if you want to go to drink beer in a bar, you're not going to be bothered. I said, go ahead. That's the free world. That's the free world.
Thank you.
Any other question? Feel free. Don't be embarrassed. He scratched his head. I thought he was raising his hand. Would you like to ask something? Okay, if there's no more questions, everybody's more than welcome to come and get a quick bracha. So that time for every people, so we don't have time for individual consultation. Come and give you a blessing. But first I'm going to give everyone a general blessing for everyone here. That Hashem should bless you all with wonderful parnasah. Those that need parnasah tova, should all the parnasah you need. Amen. Those that have shlom bayit, great shlom bayit. Amen. Those that need zivugim, you get zivug. Ishbiya chatan or kala this year. Amen. I hope to get lots of wedding invitations from Mexico City. Okay. Oh Hashem. Those that need good children. Be blessed with children, be blessed with great children, and those that need satisfaction, success in the Torah, success in the Christics, in everything you do. And, como se dice en español, por salud, por dinero y tiempo de casados. Okay.
gusta, de verdad,